They said the necklace was cursed, lost forever, buried with blood and betrayal. But when Africa's richest billionaire spotted it dangling from the neck of a poor barefoot girl in a dusty market, the world stopped. That necklace had vanished 20 years ago from his mansion. Yet here it was, shining on someone who didn't even know its worth. What he did next shocked everyone. In the golden heart of Africa, where the red earth breathed warmth and the sun dipped low like a crown of fire, there stood a land both cursed and blessed. Villages stretched across valleys of endless green, and mountains rose like sleeping giants under the skies. Here, wealth was often hidden beneath dust, and power lay in stories whispered at night by the fireside. Among those stories was one told only in hushed tones, the story of the emerald tears necklace. Forged in the 1800s by a tribal king for his beloved queen, the necklace carried emeralds so green they looked like drops of rainforest dew. But legend said the queen had been betrayed, poisoned for her jewels, and her spirit still lingered, cursing anyone who stole them. For decades, the necklace vanished and reappeared, always changing the destiny of whoever dared to wear it. And now, after decades, it was about to reappear again. His name was Kwame Adusei, a man who had been born in a tiny hut of clay but rose to become one of Africa's wealthiest men. His empire stretched from diamond mines in Sierra Leone to luxury resorts in Zanzibar. He was tall, regal in his movements, with eyes sharp enough to silence a room. But beneath that proud gaze was a wound no one saw. 20 years ago, the emerald tears necklace had been stolen from him. It was not just an heirloom, it had belonged to his late mother, who wore it on the day she died. To Kwame, losing it was like losing her all over again. He spent millions trying to track it down. Private detectives, auctions, even criminal underworlds whispered about his desperate search. But the necklace had vanished, as though swallowed by the earth itself. Kwame never remarried, never trusted love again. Instead, he built walls of wealth around his heart and told himself that people respected him for his power, not his past. But destiny had other plans. Far from the capital, in a forgotten village surrounded by cracked earth and dying crops, lived a girl named Amara. She was barely 20, with skin as smooth as dusk and eyes that held storms. She had never seen the inside of a school, never tasted sugar except once when a traveler passed through, but she carried in her heart a strength that poverty could not erase. Her father had died in the mines. Her mother, a weaver of baskets, spent nights coughing blood. Amara sold charcoal by the roadside to keep her family alive. One day, while gathering firewood near the edge of the river, she found something buried beneath the mud. A flash of green caught her eye. She dug with trembling hands, pulling out a necklace unlike anything she had ever seen. The emeralds glittered under the sun, so bright they seemed alive. She gasped. It was heavier than any jewelry she'd ever touched, colder, almost breathing against her skin. She did not know it was worth millions. To her it was just beautiful, so she wore it. Weeks later, Kwame Adusei was invited to a rural landowners' meeting near Amara's village. He came in his black Mercedes, the kind of car that made villagers stop and stare as the dust swirled behind its wheels. Dressed in a white suit, gold cufflinks at his wrists, he carried himself like a lion walking into a den of sheep. But that was when he saw her. A girl balancing a basket of mangoes on her head, walking barefoot across the market square. Her dress was faded, her feet dusty, but her neck carried a necklace Kwame knew better than his own reflection. He froze. His chest tightened. The world around him blurred until there was only her. The emerald tears necklace. The one that had vanished. The one he had dreamed of, mourned, cursed the heavens for. And here it was, swinging gently on the neck of a poor village girl who looked too innocent to even know its worth. Kwame's heart thundered. He felt anger, disbelief, wonder all at once. He wanted to storm up to her, rip it off her neck, demand answers, but something in her eyes stopped him. They were not the eyes of a thief. They were eyes that carried pain, hunger, resilience. And for the first time in decades, Kwame Adusei, the billionaire untouchable by anyone, felt small. News traveled fast in the village. Did you see? The rich man was staring at Amara like she was made of gold. Maybe he wants to marry her. No. It's that necklace she found. My grandmother told me it is cursed. Amara heard the whispers but ignored them. She had nothing to do with the rich man. Men like him never noticed girls like her. Or so she thought. That evening, a convoy of black SUVs rolled into the village. Men in suits stepped out, scanning the crowd. Children hid behind their mothers. Chickens scattered. And then the billionaire himself emerged. Kwame Adusei, tall as a baobab tree, eyes sharp as a hawk's. The village elder hurried forward, bowing deeply. But Kwame's gaze was fixed only on one person. Amara. The necklace glinted at her throat, almost mocking him. He walked toward her, each step echoing like thunder. The crowd parted in silence, their eyes wide with fear and curiosity. Amara felt her knees tremble. She wanted to run, but her legs betrayed her. Where did you get that necklace? Kwame's voice was low, commanding, like a storm about to break. Amara swallowed hard. I found it by the river. His jaw tightened. That is impossible. It's true, she whispered, clutching the basket of mangoes tighter. It was buried in the mud. I pulled it out. Kwame's eyes searched hers, trying to read her soul. She looked terrified but not guilty. Still, the weight of 20 years of loss burned inside him. That necklace belongs to me, he said finally. The crowd gasped. Murmurs rippled through the air. Amara shook her head. No, I didn't steal it. It was just there. Please don't take it. It's the only beautiful thing I have. Her words struck him like a spear. For a moment, he saw not a thief, not a stranger, but his mother. His mother who once told him that beauty and love could be found even in the dust. Kwame turned away, his chest heaving. His men waited for orders. He could have taken it right there. But he didn't. Instead he said, tomorrow. Meet me at the old council hall. Alone. And without another word he left. That night Amara could not sleep. The villagers kept knocking on her door. Some warned her. Don't go. Rich men only bring trouble. Others urged her. This is your chance. Maybe he will make you rich. Amara's mother, frail and coughing, held her hand and whispered, Go, my daughter. But be careful. The eyes of powerful men are like fire. They can warm you or burn you. Amara nodded, clutching the necklace around her throat. She didn't understand why it mattered so much to the billionaire, but she knew tomorrow would change her life forever. That same night, in his luxury suite in the nearby town, Kwame sat by the window, whiskey untouched. His men urged him to act. Boss, shall we just take it back by force? No one will question you. It's your property. But Kwame shook his head. She's not lying. He found it. And if the spirits of my ancestors placed it on her neck, then perhaps it is not mine anymore. For the first time, doubt entered his iron heart. Was the necklace truly cursed? Was this poor girl part of a destiny he could not control? Morning came with golden light spilling over the rooftops of the village. Children ran barefoot through the dust, roosters crowed, and life began as always. But for Amara and Kwame, nothing would ever be the same again. At the old council hall, where cracked walls carried the weight of history, they stood face to face. The necklace glimmered between them like a living thing, as if it held its own heartbeat. Kwame spoke first. Do you know what you carry around your neck? Amara shook her head slowly. Only that it is beautiful. Kwame's eyes darkened. It is worth more than you can imagine. But it is also dangerous. That necklace has destroyed families, toppled kings, and haunted my life for 20 years. Amara's lips parted in shock. Then why do you want it back? Because it is mine. His voice was sharp, but then softer, almost broken. Because it was my mother's. Amara touched the emeralds gently. For the first time she saw something in the billionaire's eyes. Not power, not pride, but pain. And in that moment she realized. This necklace was not just gold and stone. It was a story that bound her life with his. The morning sun poured through the broken windows of the old council hall, painting the cracked walls gold. Villagers gathered outside in hushed clusters, craning their necks to see through the open doorway. The air was thick, heavy with tension, as if the earth itself was holding its breath. Inside, Kwame Adusei, the billionaire, stood tall in his white linen suit. His gold watch gleamed faintly, but his eyes were fixed on the necklace, the emerald tears, as it rested against Amara's chest. Amara, barefoot in her faded dress, held the necklace lightly, almost protectively. Her hands trembled, but her chin was lifted, her eyes steady. She had spent her life bowing to no one, and she wasn't about to start now. "Do you know what power hangs around your neck?" Kwame asked, his deep voice echoing against the hall's walls. "I only know it is mine because I found it," Amara replied softly. Kwame's eyes narrowed. "Yours? That necklace has been in my family for generations. My mother wore it before she died. It was stolen from me. And now, by some trick of fate, it hangs on you." "Then maybe fate wanted it this way," Amara whispered, clutching the emeralds as if they might shield her. The villagers gasped. A poor girl daring to defy a man like him. Madness. But Kwame did not lash out. Instead, he studied her with a strange intensity, as though trying to solve a riddle only she could answer. Finally, Kwame spoke. "If you truly believe fate placed it on you, then prove you are worthy of it." Amara frowned. "How?" Kwame turned to the crowd. "For years, people have hunted this necklace for its wealth. But wealth destroys those who are weak. I will test her strength." The hall buzzed with whispers. Test? What kind of test could measure destiny? Amara raised her chin. "I am not afraid." Kwame gave the faintest smile. "Good. Because this test will decide not just your fate, but mine." That very afternoon, Kwame ordered his convoy to prepare. Against the protests of his advisors, he announced he would travel with Amara to the Mountain of Spirits, a place feared by many. It was said the queen who had once worn the necklace was buried there, her soul restless, guarding her emeralds with curses. "Why go there?" Amara asked. "Because if the necklace truly belongs to you," Kwame said, "the mountain will not harm you. If it belongs to me, the spirits will make it clear." So they set out, Kwame in his black Mercedes, Amara beside him, silent, the necklace gleaming in the dusty light. Behind them, a trail of villagers followed on foot, murmuring prayers. The path grew rougher, until even the Mercedes could not pass. Kwame ordered his men to stay behind, and he and Amara continued alone, climbing the steep path under the burning sun. Amara's feet bled on the rocks, but she did not complain. Kwame, though unused to walking such terrain, matched her step for step. For the first time in years, the billionaire felt stripped of his power, just a man walking beside a woman, sweating, stumbling, yet moving forward. By evening, dark clouds gathered. Thunder rolled. A storm broke over them, rain lashing, wind howling. They found shelter in a cave, shivering in the dark. For hours they said nothing. The necklace glowed faintly, catching even the dim light. Finally, Amara spoke. "You could have taken this from me by force. Why didn't you?" Kwame's voice was quiet, almost broken. "Because when I saw it on you, I realized something. All my life I have owned everything I wanted. But this was given to you, not me. And maybe that means I was never meant to have it back." Amara stared at him, surprised. Beneath the armor of wealth, she saw not just a billionaire, but a man, lonely, grieving, human. By dawn, the storm had passed. They climbed the final stretch and reached the top, a plateau marked with ancient stones, carved with symbols older than any kingdom. "This is where she rests," Kwame whispered, almost reverently. The necklace around Amara's neck grew heavier, almost pulling her down. She staggered, clutching it. A strange wind circled the plateau, carrying whispers neither of them could understand. And then it happened. The emeralds blazed with a green fire. Amara cried out, falling to her knees. Visions flashed before her eyes. A queen betrayed by her closest kin, poisoned for her jewels, her spirit raging against the injustice. Kwame rushed to Amara's side. "What is happening?" Amara gasped. She is showing me everything." Her eyes glowed faintly, as if the spirit had entered her. Kwame, shaken to his core, realized the truth. The queen's spirit had chosen Amara, not him. The vision ended. Amara lay trembling, clutching the necklace. Kwame helped her sit up, his face pale. "She has chosen you," he said hoarsely. Amara shook her head. "I don't want riches. I only wanted something beautiful to remind me that life is not always dust." Kwame looked at her for a long moment. Then he did something no one expected. He took off his gold watch, his diamond ring, and placed them on the ground. "If beauty is what you seek, then I will give you more than this cursed necklace." "But the necklace? It is yours now. It was never mine to reclaim." The villagers who had followed to the mountain gasped in disbelief. A billionaire surrendering his most prized heirloom to a poor girl. Impossible. But Kwame only smiled faintly. For the first time in years he felt peace. Word spread like wildfire. The poor girl Amara, chosen by the spirit of the queen. The billionaire who bowed to fate. The villagers began to treat Amara with reverence, no longer the charcoal seller, but a woman touched by destiny. Kwame did not leave the village immediately. He stayed, helping repair broken wells, funding schools, providing medicine for Amara's sick mother. He claimed it was business, but the truth was clear. He was drawn to Amara. One evening, under the great baobab tree, he spoke to her softly. "You changed me. Before you, I thought wealth could fix every wound. But you reminded me of my mother, of love, of the strength of the poor that no riches can buy." Amara lowered her eyes. "And you showed me that even the powerful can be gentle." Months later, in front of the entire village, Kwame did the unthinkable. He announced that Amara would not only keep the necklace, she would become his partner in all things. Not as a possession, not as charity, but as his equal. The villagers erupted in disbelief. His advisors protested, outraged. How could a billionaire marry a poor village girl? But Kwame silenced them with a single sentence. "She may have been poor in wealth, but she is rich in spirit. And I would rather walk barefoot beside her than wear golden shoes alone." The crowd fell silent. Then, slowly, they began to cheer. Years later, people still told the story. How the billionaire found his lost necklace on a poor girl. How he could have taken it by force, but instead surrendered to fate. How he built schools, hospitals, and roads in her village, not for profit, but for love. And how Amara, once a barefoot charcoal seller, became the woman who carried both the emeralds of the past and the heart of a man who had once lost everything. As for the necklace, it was no longer cursed. For the first time in centuries, it was worn not for greed, not for power, but for love. And that, the villagers said, was why the spirits finally rested in peace.